Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital recap for Thursday, January 8th, indicates that Willow Kane flashed back to shooting Drew Kane before her ringtone for Wiley Corinthos was revealed. At Sonny Corinthos' place, Giovanni Gio Palmieri ran into Christina Corinthos Davis as he hastened off to the Quartermaine manse. While Sonny gave Christina a vim talk about Michael Corinthos, Gio eavesdropped Dante Falconeri talking to Brooke Lynn Quartermaine about Michael's implicit frame-up of Willow. Gio got ready to play video games with Wiley before getting Trina Robinson's textbook during a court break. Under the guise of asking for Michael's authorization about a specific game, Gio got Wiley to call his father. Trina and Kai Taylor heard Wiley's voice as the ringtone telling his pater to pick up. Michael told Christina that he got that ringtone for Wiley when he was back in Germany. Kai and Trina obviously realized it was Aunt Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, which was the ringtone they heard inside Drew's house the night of the firing. Although they didn't get the answer they were awaiting, Trina thanked Gio for his help over the phone. Brooke Lynn also stopped by Sonny's place to pitch in with a form and talk to him about all the positive Gio developments. As for what happened in court, Drew's evidence turned into a catastrophe that made effects worse for Willow. Drew tried to make it feel like revengeful Michael transferred hitman Jason Morgan to attack him. The Solon also witnessed about Michael's punch and played up how Michael recorded his hassle with Willow in the nursery. ADA Justine Turner brought up the Judge Eva Heron bribery evidence in Drew's safe, which left Willow taken suddenly. Still, Drew claimed Michael set him up and criticized him for all Willow's problems. Drew completely lost it on the stage in the end and declared Michael was going to rot in captivity. Nina Reeves brazened Drew during a recess and ripped into him for ruining all the progress Alexis Davis had made. Alexis knew Drew's evidence couldn't be the last thing the jury heard, so she demanded Willow to get on the stage and undo the damage. Willow agreed and indeed witnessed formerly court was back in session. When Willow was asked if she'd ever touched the gun stolen from the Quartermaine manse, she claimed she hadn't. Still, a flashback showed Willow unleashing the gun case and handling that armament with gloves. Another flashback showed Willow looking distrait and determined as she left GH that stormy night. In Willow's auto, she slipped the gloves again and pulled the gun out of her glove cube. Of course, Willow pretended she didn't know where she drove since she was so worried and claimed she didn't stop anywhere. Although Willow was upset over Judge Heron's demise potentially causing another reversal in her visit sweats, she acted like she didn't condemn Drew for that. Rather, Willow sang Drew's praises as the idol who saved her life when she had leukemia and suggested she couldn't help but fall in love with him. Willow indeed corrected Ada Turner about her last name being Kane and not Tate now. As for Michael, Willow calmly refocused the cutlet at him for shooting Drew and framing her for it. There was some talk about Michael being alone at Elizabeth Baldwin's house and also putatively setting Willow up to get arrested in front of her children. Willow put on a satisfying performance and left Alexis feeling confident after the judge suspended for the day. Sucker saw the verity when another flashback showed Willow pulling the detector on Drew doubly. Wiley ultimately called Willow's phone on her way out of the courtroom, so Kai and Trina were stunned when they realized the ringtone was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. General Hospital spoilers say Trina and Kai will talk about that shocking news soon, so we'll bring you updates on some big opinions they'll have to make. In Hereafter's occasion, suckers can anticipate Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor to pound over their options. Tracy Quartermaine confronts Alexis Davis. Plus, Britt Westbourne says too important. Keep reading, and let's talk about what's coming up in the ABC Cleaner pieces. Tracy Quartermaine's confrontation. Let's launch off with Tracy, who's furious about Alexis' bold move in court. It forced Tracy to make a concession on the stage during Willow Tate Kane's trial. Tracy answered the questions, but now everyone is looking at Michael Corinthos. Tracy isn't happy about it at all. The woman will end up defying Tracy about it. Still, the counsel shamelessly admits that she called her Baranka, and Tracy fell for it. Drew Kane's vengeance over with Drew Kane. He went on the stage to swear on behalf of Willow. Still, it didn't go relatively as Drew planned. Now the Solon looks like a fool raving about how Michael has taken everything from him. Next, Drew tells someone that it's their turn to grovel now. This can't be good. What's this fool going to do now? Trina Robinson's Options General Hospital spoilers for Hereafter's occasion reveal that Trina and Kai will need to make some opinions about what to do. At first, they allowed that the ringtone belonged to Michael. Now they know that it was actually Willow's ringtone for Wiley Quartermain. Laura Collins confers. Meanwhile, Laura will confer with Sonny Corinthos. The mayor doesn't know how to get out of their mess with Jen Sidwell. While Laura wants to cover her own family, she also has to worry about Sonny's. However, also so does he, if Laura goes down. In an exercise clip, Laura tells Sonny, "Your family is stuck with this mess." What differently to anticipate? As for what differently to anticipate, Drew has an irritable hassle with Jason Morgan and Carly Spencer. In fact, Carly tells the right-hand man that if Willow is acquitted, also they will go after Michael next. Britt ends up saying too important to Brad Cooper. The woman declares that she demanded commodity that Brad couldn't give. Also, Michael questions Jacinda Breckel. Which plot are you looking forward to seeing the most on Friday, January 9th, 2026? General Hospital spoilers report Portia Robinson surprised observers this week when she told Elizabeth Baldwin that she doesn't actually want the baby to be Isaiah Gannon's presently. Last week was rough for Portia. For a moment, she allowed she might lose the child she's carrying. When that fear passed, she sank into Isaiah's arms at his cabin and all began to feel right in the world. But her court evidence during Willow Tate Kane shifted the axis of her entire world. Now, she's equivocal about the implicit outgrowth of this maternity test, and seems to be digging her heels into the ground to cube it. She more watch out. She might be giving Isaiah all the time he needs to fix the outgrowth for himself. Isaiah was the right Joe at the right time. Portia didn't really know why she ran to Isaiah the night that her marriage officially fell piecemeal, but she set up a reason to stick around after she did. It's not as though she isn't interested in the Joe or attracted to him, but they haven't exactly been living the life of a couple. Moreover, this secret affair had its gratuities, and she was indeed touched by his appetite to be a father, and his vulnerability in opening up to her about that. Last week, she might have wanted Isaiah to be her baby daddy, but this week is a different story. GH spoilers tease. Portia's heart is breaking. Poor Isaiah didn't do anything wrong. That's what will really make this sting. It's Portia's tattered heart that's making her alternate guess the way she was feeling before, and that could carry over into whether she wants to be romantically involved with Isaiah at all presently. The guilt she feels for having to admit to her relationship with him while under pledge and gaping Curtis and Trina Ashford in their faces is brutal. It sounds like Portia is hoping the baby is Curtis now just so she can have a better shot at timber amends and holding her family together. However, he's far more likely to give Portia some grace and move forward, encouraging Trina to do the same, if the baby is Curtis. Right now, she doesn't indeed want to speak to her mama. But if the baby is Isaiah's, Portia is likely fearful that will push Trina and Curtis down indeed more, and that she wouldn't have any influence to pull them back. Is she not as ready to gutter her marriage as she allowed? Isaiah is no fool. Isaiah wasted no time defending Portia when he eavesdropped Curtis pushing for that maternity test behind her reverse. I could see Isaiah beating Curtis to the punch after seeing how eager he's to confirm if the baby is his. With how invested Isaiah is in being the father now, will he take matters into his own hands to make sure it kissers out that way? Might he indeed invite the likes of Brad Cooper on board to help him do it? If so, this facade could go on for a long time, decades indeed. Stay tuned for further GH news and spoilers to find out what's in store for Portia's baby. Dante Falconeri makes an admission, while Alexis Davis makes a parlous legal move. Plus, Drew Kane loses his cool. Dante's admission. Dante appears to be at the Quartermain manse as he tells Brooklyn Quartermain Chase he didn't want to do that. Brooklyn is extremely irked as she tells him, well, also fix it. No doubt the tense discussion pertains to Dante's suspending Brooklyn's hubby, Detective Harrison Chase, and Brooklyn wants her hubby unsuspended. Brooklyn will probably understand why Dante felt he'd to suspend Chase if he tells her the verity that Chase wasn't suitable to be objective regarding the Willow Kane case. Also, Chase had gone guileful in that he did his own outside examinations to try and exculpate his partner. Trina and Kai make a huge consummation in the meantime, Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor will make a huge consummation about who shot Drew, and it may not be the bone they allowed. They would. Trina and Kai set up with a reticent Gio Palmieri to carry a script where Wiley Corinthos would call Michael Corinthos within sound to hear his ringtone. It looks like Kai is scrupling to act as they presumably are at the agreed-upon position, with an intolerant Trina telling an irked Kai he has a chance to get the verity right now. Still, there may be a good reason for the detention, especially if they're lurking nearly at the Quartermain mansion. Joe's and accelerate as Trina and Kai are likely waiting. Someone differently is at the door. Christina Corinthos Davis has shown up to talk to Gio. As he's looking impatiently at Christina, she notes that he's in a rush and asks what's the hurry. That could be awkward, especially since Christina is Michael Corinthos' family and the ringtone they're trying to hear could either interlace or exculpate him as being Drew's shooter. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star may or may not be Michael's special ringtone for Wiley. GH suckers formerly know it's Drew's for Scout Kane and maybe Willow's too. Alexis risky legal move in the courtroom. Alexis is going over her parlous legal move with Willow, as she tells her she's their stylish shot at turning that around. Alexis had sounded to successfully gain reasonable mistrustfulness that Willow was the bone who shot Drew, by pointing the cutlet at Michael and destroying his justification. What Alexis may be pertaining to is having Willow shoot down what Drew plans to say on the stage, conceivably non-concurring with some points. Supposedly, Drew thinks by farther throwing Michael under the machine, indeed more than he has, will produce a Perry Mason moment where Michael is thrown in jail right down, without due process. Drew loses his cool. Considering Drew loses his cool on stage, that might be exactly what Alexis has directed Willow to do, and it's a parlous move because the jury could be more told to condemn Willow. He's on the stage as he convincingly says he's there to set the record straight. Whatever happens in response to his evidence, his blowing up and going ballistic is only going to make him look worse, not Willow look better. Indeed, if Drew did suddenly flash back a detail about the night he was shot, there's no way he could have seen who his shooter was. He was shot in the back 2 times, although whoever the shooter was, he or she didn't stick around to make sure he was dead. Sonny and Brooke Lynn reconnect in the meantime. Sonny Corinthos and Brooke Lynn reconnect, and Sonny tells her, "You got to believe that." Maybe this is fallout from the before tense discussion between Brooke Lynn and Dante, although Brooke Lynn would be upset with Dante throwing Michael under the machine as well as his suspending Chase. On the other hand, the content of discussion could be Gio and Dante's station towards him, which he's been trying to ameliorate. Dante has realized he's maybe unconsciously been not objective about Michael in respects to the firing. Maybe he's realized the same about his dealings with Gio. The week on General Hospital took a tense, emotional turn as courtrooms became the center stage for shocking revelations, long-held secrets, and heart-stopping confrontations. Thursday, January 8th, was no exception, as the storyline surrounding Willow Kane, Drew Kane, Michael Corinthos, and the extended Quartermain family intensified, leaving fans on the edge of their seats. With flashbacks, courtroom drama, and unexpected alliances, the day was packed with moments that would change the game entirely. The day began at Sonny Corinthos' residence, where the morning was already humming with tension and anticipation. Giovanni Gio Palmieri was in a hurry, darting out of the house with a purpose that immediately drew Christina Corinthos Davis' attention. She had just come to collect her tablet and was immediately met with Joe's nervous energy. Christina, naturally concerned and perceptive, noticed the urgency in Joe's demeanor and asked about it, but the young man only had time for a hurried response before rushing off to the Quartermain mansion. The underlying tension was palpable. The Corinthos household was never without its share of complications, but today seemed more charged than usual. Meanwhile, Sonny, ever the stabilizing presence amidst chaos, took a moment to calm Christina's nerves. He gave her an encouraging pep talk, assuring her that even if Michael Corinthos faced difficulties, she needed to stay strong. Sonny's steady presence offered a reassuring reminder of the importance of family and loyalty, as he reminded Christina that resilience often meant facing uncomfortable truths with courage. In the background, Dante Falconeri was overheard speaking to Brooke Lynn Quartermain about Michael potentially being framed, and Gio, en route to his own tasks, picked up on this conversation, instantly sensing that events were spiraling beyond anyone's control. Gio, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the growing storm, attempted to distract himself with lighter moments, preparing for video game time with young Wiley Corinthos. However, even this small slice of calm was interrupted by the arrival of a text from Trina Robinson during a brief break in court proceedings. The message prompted Gio to cleverly maneuver a way for Wiley to call his father, under the pretense of asking Michael's permission regarding a video game. What unfolded next would ignite a chain of revelations. Trina and Kai Taylor overheard Wiley's voice through the ringtone, recognizing the familiar melody that had been playing inside Drew's house on the night of the shooting. The familiar tune, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, was now central to the mystery unraveling before their eyes. Kai and Trina's shock was evident as they realized the implications. They had been tracking the wrong assumptions, and the truth was far more tangled than anticipated. Back at Sunny's, Brooke Lynn stopped by to lend a hand with a recipe and provide some support, but her visit quickly veered into discussions of the day's events. The conversation between Brooke Lynn and Sunny was an emotional reminder of the importance of community and allies during times of trial. Gio, despite his youthful energy and light-hearted intentions, had unwittingly become a key player in uncovering truths that would ripple across the Corinthos and Quartermain families. Courtroom proceedings, however, remained the focal point of tension. Drew Kane's testimony began as an attempt to portray himself as a victim of circumstances, painting Michael as a vengeful figure who had orchestrated a hit attempt against him through none other than Jason Morgan. Drew's testimony, however, quickly unraveled. He attempted to manipulate the narrative, claiming that Michael had recorded his encounters with Willow in the nursery and even accusing Michael of being responsible for a series of misfortunes in Willow's life. Drew's vehemence on the stand escalated into a full-blown tirade, leaving him increasingly discredited and desperate. ADA Justine Turner added fuel to the fire by bringing up the Judge Eva Heron bribery evidence found in Drew's safe, a revelation that left Willow visibly startled. Drew, oblivious to the mounting cracks in his story, continued to blame Michael for all of Willow's woes, ultimately declaring with a mix of fury and despair that Michael would rot in prison. The courtroom drama intensified further when Nina Reeves confronted Drew during a recess, her frustration boiling over as she chastised him for undermining Alexis Davis's careful legal strategy. Drew's explosive behavior had jeopardized Alexis' plan, leaving Nina to pick up the pieces. Alexis, ever the strategist, knew that Drew's testimony couldn't be the last word. She needed Willow to take the stand to counteract the damage and restore the semblance of order. Willow, despite the emotional turmoil and internal conflict, agreed to testify, stepping into the courtroom once proceedings resumed. Willow's testimony was a masterclass in composure under pressure. When questioned about her interaction with the gun stolen from the Quartermain mansion, she maintained that she had never touched it. Yet, flashbacks revealed the disturbing truth. Willow had indeed unlocked the gun case, handled the weapon with gloves, and left GH that rainy night in a state of emotional turmoil. Another flashback showed her donning gloves again in her car, retrieving the gun from her glove compartment, a chilling reminder of her determination and desperation. Despite these internal truths, Willow maintained an exterior of calm, insisting that she had driven without stopping and feigning ignorance of her actions. Even as she testified, Willow displayed a delicate balance of candor and strategic omission. While expressing concern over Judge Heron's death potentially impacting her visitation rights, she skillfully redirected blame, praising Drew as a hero who had saved her during her leukemia battle, subtly reinforcing her innocence. Willow corrected Ada Turner on her last name, reaffirming her identity as Kane and not Tate, a small but significant act of asserting control in a courtroom filled with uncertainty. Ultimately, she directed suspicion toward Michael, implying that he had orchestrated the shooting of Drew and framed her, painting a picture of him as manipulative and untrustworthy. Alexis Davis, watching from the sidelines, exuded a sense of cautious optimism. Willow's performance, while carefully measured, gave Alexis hope that the jury might see the reasonable doubt she had worked tirelessly to establish. The adjournment of the court left viewers on tenterhooks, as flashbacks revealed the unvarnished truth. Willow had pulled the trigger on Drew not once, but twice. The revelation of Wiley's call to Willow's phone outside the courtroom confirmed for Kai and Trina that the ringtone had indeed been Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, a key piece of evidence that would inevitably lead to hard decisions for the young investigators. Beyond the courtroom, the ripple effects of these events extended across multiple characters. Trina and Kai were now faced with the challenge of processing this new information and deciding on their next course of action. Their earlier assumptions about the ringtone being Michael's had been upended, forcing them to confront the reality that Willow's role in Drew's shooting was far more direct than previously thought. The coming days promised intense discussions, difficult choices, and the potential for significant upheaval. Tracy Quartermain's involvement added yet another layer of tension. Furious over Alexa's courtroom maneuvers, Tracy found herself in a position where she had to confront the repercussions of her actions and the truth revealed in court. Her confrontation with Alexis was heated and laced with angry threats, yet Alexis maintained her composure, confident in her strategy and unafraid of Tracy's wrath. The courtroom and subsequent interactions demonstrated the complex interplay of power, loyalty, and manipulation that defines the Quartermain family dynamic. Drew Cain, meanwhile, was forced to grapple with the fallout from his testimony. His attempt to sway the court and vilify Michael backfired spectacularly, leaving him appearing erratic and unhinged. His declaration that it was someone else's turn to grovel suggested impending acts of revenge, hinting at further chaos and retribution in the episodes to come. Drew's trajectory, from vengeful congressman to discredited witness, illustrated the fragility of control in the high-stakes world of Port Charles. At Sonny's, family ties and alliances continued to be tested. Sonny's interactions with Brooke Lynn provided moments of levity and encouragement, highlighting the importance of support systems during turbulent times. Discussions about Joe's progress and the younger generation's involvement in unfolding events underscored the intergenerational stakes at play. Meanwhile, Dante Falconeri navigated his own moral and professional dilemmas, particularly regarding Brooke Lynn's husband, Harrison Chase. Dante's acknowledgement of his potential bias and the necessity of suspending Chase illustrated the ethical tightrope that law enforcement officers in Port Charles often walk. The personal lives of other characters intersected dramatically with these central plot lines. Portia Robinson faced intense emotional conflict regarding the paternity of her child, torn between her past with Isaiah Gannon and the uncertain outcomes of the courtroom revelations. Her conflicted heart, compounded by the public scrutiny and courtroom pressures, showcased the deep emotional stakes inherent in General Hospital's storytelling. Portia's hesitation, her second-guessing, and the subtle manipulations she employed to influence outcomes highlighted the complex interplay of personal desire and pragmatic decision-making. Isaiah, perceptive and protective, recognized the subtleties in Portia's actions. His readiness to defend her, anticipate Curtis' maneuvers, and potentially influence the paternity outcome demonstrated his proactive approach and deep investment in his relationship with Portia. The unfolding scenario suggested a prolonged narrative arc with far-reaching implications for family dynamics, legal entanglements, and romantic entanglements alike. Back in the courtroom, Alexis Davis's legal acumen was on full display. Her strategies, including eliciting key details from Willow and managing Drew's increasingly volatile testimony, illustrated her skill in navigating complex cases. By maintaining focus and leveraging every piece of evidence, Alexis positioned Willow to counteract the damaging narratives presented by Drew and others. The delicate balance between encouraging Willow to testify effectively and avoiding overexposure of sensitive truths was a testament to Alexis' legal brilliance and her unwavering commitment to her client's best interests. The courtroom flashbacks, interspersed throughout Willow's testimony, offered viewers a harrowing glimpse into her internal conflict and the moral dilemmas she faced. The visual storytelling reinforced the tension between appearance and reality, as Willow maintained her composure under scrutiny while her past actions suggested a far more complicated narrative. These moments of dramatic irony heightened the stakes, compelling viewers to question the nature of truth, justice, and personal responsibility. Trina and Kai's investigative efforts outside the courtroom added a procedural element to the unfolding drama. Their orchestration of Wiley's phone call, their careful observation of ringtones, and their gradual realization of Willow's culpability showcased their resourcefulness and determination. These sequences provided a dynamic counterpoint to the courtroom drama, emphasizing the multifaceted nature of conflict resolution and truth-seeking in the narrative. Meanwhile, interpersonal tension simmered among several key players. Tracy Quartermain's fiery temper, Drew Kane's volatility, Willow's calculated performance, and Alexis Davis's legal maneuvering all contributed to a combustible environment where alliances were constantly shifting. The interplay of encouragement, confrontation, and angry threats created a rich tapestry of emotional intensity, reflecting the soap's signature blend of high-stakes drama and character-driven storytelling. Dante's internal struggle regarding Chase's suspension underscored the theme of personal versus professional integrity. His willingness to confront bias, acknowledge error, and prioritize objectivity demonstrated the ethical challenges faced by law enforcement in the midst of complex family and legal entanglements. Brooke Lynn's reactions, balancing support and frustration, highlighted the ripple effects of professional decisions on personal relationships, further intensifying the drama. As the day's events unfolded, the intricate web of motivations, secrets, and strategic moves became increasingly apparent. Every character, from Gio and Christina to Alexis, Willow, and Drew, played a critical role in shaping the outcomes of both the courtroom and the personal lives intertwined with it. Encouraging words from Sunny, careful strategy from Alexis, and the courageous yet morally complex actions of Willow underscored the multifaceted nature of heroism and accountability within the General Hospital universe. Looking ahead, the stage was set for continued confrontations, critical decisions, and dramatic revelations. Trina and Kai's deliberations regarding the ringtone, Drew's potential retaliatory actions, Tracy's unresolved anger, and Portia's ongoing heartache promised to drive the narrative into even more turbulent territory. Fans could expect the fallout from Thursday's events to reverberate across Port Charles, influencing relationships, legal outcomes, and family dynamics in profound ways. The episode emphasized several recurring themes that have long defined General Hospital: the power of family, the complexity of moral choice, the tension between public persona and private action, and the consequences of secrets revealed. Encouraging words, angry threats, and strategic maneuvering all combined to create a compelling tapestry of drama, intrigue, and emotional resonance. Viewers were left with a mix of suspense, empathy, and anticipation, eager to see how the characters would navigate the increasingly treacherous waters of justice, loyalty, and personal truth. In conclusion, Thursday's installment of General Hospital masterfully intertwined courtroom drama, family loyalty, personal conflict, and investigative intrigue. Willow Kane's testimony, Drew Kane's unraveling, Alexis Davis's legal brilliance, and the reactions of supporting characters like Gio, Christina, Trina, Kai, Sunny, Brooke Lynn, and Dante all contributed to a narrative rich in tension and emotional stakes. Flashbacks offered viewers insight into hidden motivations, courtroom confrontations revealed the fragility of appearances, and strategic interactions outside the courtroom hinted at even larger revelations to come. From encouraging pep talks to explosive confrontations and morally ambiguous decisions, Baptism Begins delivered a high-stakes, emotionally charged episode that left the door wide open for future twists, shocks, and heart-wrenching moments. Fans were reminded once again why Port Charles remains one of the most compelling and unpredictable locales in daytime television, where truth is elusive, alliances are fluid, and every decision carries far-reaching consequences.